there, I'm Emma Kemp for Creative Expressions. Today's video is episode 1 of a new little 7-part series that I've created, taking a closer look at the new Sue Wilson Autumn collection. The collection consists of 14 die sets, including 4 sentiments, and in this series we're going to be taking a look each day at one of each of the 7 animal die sets. I'll be showing you how to bring each of the animal dies to life, adding colour and shading, as well as how to assemble all the little parts of the layered dies. To see the full collection, our lovely Gwen Fletcher is going to be taking it to Hobby Maker on Tuesday the 18th of August, and she's got shows at 2 and 6 p.m. Then it will be going on sale with our stockists from 10 a.m. on Friday the 21st of August. So the focus of today's video is going to be Bailey the bunny, and I'll be showing you how to add colour using the Azure Alcohol Markers by Royal and Langnickel, and that will be the same each day. Today's video will be a little bit more detailed in terms of the narrative. For the other videos, the rest of the 6, they'll be slightly more sped up because I'm sure you don't want me repeating the same each day. We're essentially going to be following the same process for each of the animals. So hopefully by the end of the 7-day series, if you were struggling with confidence with colouring, you might have a little bit of a better idea of how you can add colouring and shading. Finally, just to remind you that I am not a colourist, I'm not a colouring expert. This is how I add colour, but I'm just hopeful that it will help people who are lacking confidence to move away from applying flat colour, and hopefully will feel a little bit more confident in their colouring. Okay, so to begin, you can see here that I have a colour swatch chart. I always create a colour swatch chart for all of my colouring mediums. I'd really recommend it. It really does help, especially when you're adding shading. So you can see here that I'm just showing the different shades that I'm going to be picking within each colour family. I've got cool greys, and then I've got some pinkish tones. I typically start with between 2 to 4 colours, starting from darkest to lightest. And I find the easiest way to add colour and shading, for me personally, again this is just a personal choice, is to start with the darkest colour first. And this is going to be essentially my shadow, if you like. So this is going to go around the edges where the light reaches the item the least. So this is your shadowed areas essentially. So you imagine with a 3D object, in my mind, the centre, the most prominent part even of the 3D object is going to hit the light the most, and the very sides that kind of curve away from the light are going to be in the shadow. So that's my idea. Like I say, I'm not a colourist, and you know, there are colourists that you can watch on YouTube that will give you a lot more tips if you really want to advance this, but this is really just about trying to add some shading and move away from that that flat colour. So here I'm coming in with the medium shade. So remember, we had 3 cool greys that we started with, so it's darkest, medium, and then the lightest, which is the highlight. And what I actually do is I go back over the darkest shade at the edge and pull it out. So that means that if your medium shade is a slightly different hue of grey, for example, to the darker shade that you've used, it just goes over that and alters it slightly, and then it pulls it out to make it more natural. And you'll see I'm not doing just like lines, for example. You can see I'm kind of scribbling and going in circles, so that when it comes to blending each colour in with the next, they blend a lot better. So here I'm coming in with my highlight. This is my lightest shade, and this is going to be on the areas where the light hits the most, so those highlight areas. And once I've added this, I will then come back in and I'll go back to either the darkest or the medium shade, and I'll start just strengthening those shadowed areas, going back over them. And what you then find is when you bring the lighter shade in, I don't know if you just saw there on the bunny's head, but when you go back over your previous highlight, it will darken it slightly, which means you don't have to cover that previous highlighted area in full. So that will then leave the lightest highlighted part that you haven't gone over, and then a slightly darker highlighted part. So it just adds more of a gradient. Hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, so essentially I go back over, and I don't know if you've noticed as well, but you'll see that when you go back over it and you start to pull that lighter, that highlight shade over the whole thing, you can see the colour moving, and that is because they are alcohol based. And I've noticed with these markers in particular, they do a really good job of that, and it kind of leaves a a texture, like a mottled look to an extent, and you may notice it as we keep going back over the bunny's head there. But it leaves a texture that's really lovely, I think, for especially when you're trying to create realism with animals and things like wildlife and nature. Again, it moves away from just that flat, not very realistic colour. So as you can see, I've now come in with the pink flesh tones, and I'm doing exactly the same thing. I start from darkest around the edges, go to lightest to bring that highlight in, and then I go back to the darker colour and work my way through the two, or however many you've got really, to just deepen those shadows and create that gradient. I'm coming in with just a very light warm grey here as well, just for the tail and the top of the head to add an extra colour. And then I'm just reworking the grey again. This is what I'll do for a little while. I mean, you don't have to work it so much and go over it. I probably overwork it, but I do like to go in and make sure I'm pulling out their shadows so they're blended. And on this bunny in particular, I'd say even more so than the other animals that you'll see me colouring this week. I struggled a little bit to well, I guess to be satisfied with how I pulled out the shadows. Talking about the shadows as well, I did say earlier on to you that you want the shadows around the areas that receive the least light. But you'll also notice on the bunny that I've added a shadow around his arm, and we call those cast shadows. So when you've got an object that is in front of another object, then when you're colouring the object behind, it will create a slight shadow. So that's why I've shadowed behind the arm. But now I've actually assembled the bunny here, I'm actually coming back in with just the mid grey and the lightest grey and just pulling that out a little bit, because I wasn't entirely satisfied. I felt my shadows were a bit too dark and not blended. But like I say, I overwork it. You can see that we've moved away from flat colour. It really has brought the bunny to life. And we've literally done that with just a few colours and pulling in from darkest to lightest and repeating those steps. So I hope episode 1 has been helpful in giving you a better idea perhaps, or a starting idea of how to move away from flat colour and bring your dies to life. I'll be back again at 12 tomorrow and every day for the next 6 days. Tomorrow we'll be looking at the gorgeous Daisy the deer. And then once the series is complete and all of the 7 animals are coloured, I'm going to be bringing out some tutorials showing how I've made these into cards. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully see you again tomorrow, and until then, take care. Bye.